There was a season of my life when I believed that understanding came before change. I believed the mind always received a warning, that every meaningful transformation first appeared as an idea, then a question, then a decision. Only after all of that would life begin rearranging itself. It felt reasonable. Order has always been comforting. If something could be explained, it could be anticipated. If it could be anticipated, it could be controlled. And if it could be controlled, perhaps it could never truly surprise me. For years, I lived inside that assumption without noticing how much of my identity depended upon it. I observed more than I participated. I analyzed more than I reacted. I stood just far enough away from experience that I could understand its shape without allowing it to reshape mine. Or at least that was the story I quietly repeated to myself. Looking back now, I don't think I was protecting my understanding. I think I was protecting my certainty. There is a difference. Understanding remains curious. Certainty wants to arrive. Curiosity continues moving. Certainty builds a home and locks the door behind itself. I didn't recognize that distinction until life introduced me to something that refused to fit inside any explanation I had prepared. Not because it was dramatic, quite the opposite. It was almost invisible. The smallest moments carried the greatest weight. A conversation that should have disappeared remained strangely alive. A silence continued speaking long after words had ended. An ordinary exchange refused to become ordinary again. At first I dismissed it. The mind is skilled at explaining away whatever threatens its familiar patterns. It calls coincidence what it cannot yet understand. It calls imagination what it is not ready to accept. It calls temporary what quietly intends to stay. But reality has a peculiar patience. It never argues. It simply continues existing until denial becomes more exhausting than honesty. Perhaps that is why the deepest truths rarely announce themselves. They don't need to. Time speaks for them. Repetition speaks for them. Presence speaks for them. Eventually you stop asking why something remains. You begin asking what its persistence is trying to teach you. That question changed more than I expected, because the answer was never about another person. It was about the architecture of my own awareness. Some people don't enter your life to become the center of it. They enter quietly and reveal rooms within you that you had somehow lived beside without ever opening. Nothing about the outside changes immediately. Your routines remain familiar. The world continues moving with the same rhythm. Yet inside, something almost impossible to describe begins rearranging itself. Not loudly, not dramatically, patiently, like dawn replacing darkness without asking permission. And one morning you realize you are no longer searching for who you used to be. You are becoming someone your former self could never have imagined. Not because you decided to, because awareness arrived before the decision ever could. And perhaps that has always been the nature of transformation. It doesn't begin when we choose it. It begins the moment we become honest enough to stop resisting what has already begun.